Hello and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's only daily television platform for small businesses. Over the past 7 years, we've understood what matters most to you, the entrepreneur. And in year 8, we're taking head-on 2 of your most pressing concerns, that of funding and mentoring. I'm Sananda Jaiseelan. Tonight on the show, 2 very special conversations with 2 companies based both out of Bengaluru. First up is NetApp. Joining us live on the show, on the other side of a break, is Meesho. I'm being joined live by Anil Valluri, President of NetApp for both the India and SAARC markets, to talk about enterprise data management. Anil, so good having you joining us on the show tonight. Let's start this interview by really talking about enterprise data management, what we mean by that, and also a very brief journey, if you can, of NetApp.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. NetApp has been a leader in the storage domain for the last 25 years. And initially we started off as a storage appliance vendor, and we were providing to customers as a very simple plug and play, easy to use appliance model. And over the years we evolved into a full spectrum storage provider. In the last 3 to 4 years we evolved to a very different company. We repositioned ourselves from a storage company to a data management company, because we realized that data is becoming extremely critical, and data is the new oil, data is the new currency, data is the new gold, and so on. And therefore, we said, what are the assets that NetApp has, and how can we be relevant in the space that is data? And we have innovated quite a bit on that, and then said, we will be everything that a customer wants to do with data, whether it is protection, whether it is security, whether it is access, whether it is economies of scale in terms of where you locate it, be it in the cloud, be it an on-prem, be it in a hybrid location. So it is all to do with data, and given the importance of how data is evolving and the way data is growing, I believe we are very extremely well positioned in the market to look at these requirements.
We started this interview by talking about NetApp and your journey, but can you also break it down for our viewers in terms of some of your services and some of the verticals that you're really excited about and are involved in?
So we are a technology provider. We give solutions to customers. We offer from a construct perspective, what is the problem and what is the solution that we can offer. And the solution could possibly come from just NetApp, or could be along with our partners, including Microsoft, including Cisco, Veeam, Commvault, NVIDIA, and so on, or Red Hat. So we work together with our partners and give a complete solution to our customers. And the solution could be just an on-prem based solution, or it could be a hybrid cloud-based solution. And we also have professional services, architects and specialists who can do these workshops before we go and give this solution, and understanding what the issues are, how the landscape is in a customer environment, what's the usage, what's the infrastructure that you're probably wasting or idling, and give all those insights, and then create a solution construct and give it to customers. And then that we execute along with the help of partners as well as our professional services team. Then we also end up supporting along with our partners and our own support teams, which work on a global 24/7 basis to give them multi-year support, whether it is 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, or whatever. So it is a full life cycle of services we give, constantly working with customers, constantly looking at what they're doing, constantly giving them ideas as to how to innovate and how to improve. So it's a plethora of services that we have, right from pre-sales consulting to professional services to support to what you call the service assessments and all of that. So that's the spectrum that we offer to market.
I just very briefly referenced small businesses, Anil, and my question is, how they perhaps approaching, technology differently, cloud computing differently, data management differently, particularly the ones who are based outside of the metros in Tier 2 and Tier 3 and Tier 4. Are you seeing a lot of variation when it comes to that?
India has always been leading in terms of technology adoption. Indians somehow seem to be very tech savvy, and we have enough and more people who are computer literate. They know a lot of things around architecture, software development, system analysis, and all of that. So we had always abundant talent pool in India, technical talent pool. Now the challenge is for the small and medium customers who would traditionally have this access to this talent. They are all moving upstream into a lot more niche areas and a lot more higher paying jobs. Therefore, you would not have the same, typically the small and medium enterprises are in the Tier 2, Tier 3 cities of India. So the people are moving to Tier 1 metros and so on in search of lucrative jobs and well-paying jobs and maybe higher value-add jobs. So the small and medium enterprises today, it's not about the technology question, but do you have access to the talent pool? And it's becoming more and more challenging. While you have people, their aims seem to be different. They want to do different things. So cloud seems to be one of the areas where it alleviates a lot of the challenges that small and medium enterprises have, because you don't need to set up your data center, you don't need to look for system admins, you don't have to look at your people who manage your data centers and work with the technology refreshes every 3 years, every 5 years. All of those challenges, you just go to cloud and then use it seamlessly as a utility. The downside, of course, is that you need to be able to use cloud cleverly. If you are unaware of how you use cloud, you could get billed for things that you have not opted for or not used it. Sure. Therefore, the idea of partners of NetApp is to go and help these customers refine their cloud strategy, refine their usage patterns, refine their ability to leverage cloud for their requirements. So it is possibly a hybrid environment, or it could be just full cloud environment. With small and medium enterprise, to my mind, are probably the best beneficiaries. But word of caution is that they need to really look at how they're going to embrace cloud. It can't be just on and off. It needs to be evaluated from the usage perspective and see what's the best return on investment.
Anil, my last couple of questions to you, and I want to reference some data here. In just about 10 odd years, the IT sector's contribution to the GDP has jumped from 1.2% in 1998 to nearly 7.7%, and that's in 2017. What factors do you think are contributing then? How do we really build on that legacy according to you?
It's absolutely good news. Globally, we have lagged in terms of IT spend in terms of GDP for many decades. Now we've reached that point where we can say very comfortably that we are on par with some of those Western nations in terms of GDP spend on IT. Biggest GDP difference happens on IT because of governmental spending, because they have the wherewithal to make an impact. And the best way to use IT to impact society and GDP and economy and healthcare and in terms of inclusion, in terms of social services, is government using IT effectively to do citizen services, be it in healthcare, be it in transportation, be it in agriculture, be it in defense, what have you, airlines, railways, all of that, telecommunications.
All right, Anil, I'm going to let you go with one last question. What's the future looking like for you here at NetApp in India?
I look at ourselves playing a big role in this entire pan out of cloud services, pan out of AI services, pan out of storage, security. So it's all about, and we clearly know that data is the key today. Data is the only piece which has got state. everything else is stateless. So we being a technology company focused around data, I think we have very good opportunity to tap into what is going on in the market for the coming years as well as for the present. We see ourselves at the center of a lot of innovation around usage of cloud and on-prem infrastructure, security, social services, and then how do you bring in benefits of technology to the nation. So we are in the center of a lot of things that are happening in terms of data. So I'm very happy personally. I think I'm in an industry which offers phenomenal scale, which offers phenomenal opportunity for coming foreseeable future. And therefore, NetApp, I see, is extremely well positioned to address these challenges and technologies. And the future and the present continue to be bright.
Anil, thanks very much for your time here on the show tonight.
Thank you.
Let's take a quick break. On that note, I'm in conversation with Meesho on the other side. We'll tell you what this highly innovative e-commerce social startup is doing when we come back. Just stay tuned. Welcome back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight on the show, bringing you an exclusive interview with Meesho. Our second conversation tonight is with Meesho, a social e-commerce startup. Now, the e-commerce space in India is changing even as we speak, and Meesho is leading it from the forefront by engaging with small businesses, particularly women sellers, and teaching them and helping them to sell on social media platforms, whether it is Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp. I spoke to the co-founder Vidit Atre of Meesho to understand his insights when it comes to selling on social media, as well as what it means to be the first investment that Facebook has made in any startup in the country, and that's as recently as June 2019, and what some of the way forward and so what some of the plans and strategies are that the company has. Take a listen. Thanks for taking the time here on the Leaders of Tomorrow on our Disruptors segment, where we talk to highly innovative businesses like yours, seeing the kind of exponential growth that you've seen in a very short span of time. Meesho, I understand, is a combination of the words Meri, shop. But just to sort of set this interview rolling, if you want to talk to our viewers about the business model really behind Meesho.
Sure. First of all, thank you so much, Sunanda, for having me on the show. So Meesho means Meri shop because when we started Meesho, we essentially wanted to build a platform that could take all small businesses online, which they could call themselves at their own shop. And over time, we have morphed into what we are today. And the problem that we solve is very simple. What we do is we enable almost anyone, and most of this audience is women, to start their own social stores on platforms such as WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram,
sure,
without any investment, which is the most important part of it, because for anyone in India to start a business, the biggest barrier is needing capital.
Okay.
And that is what we take away. And the way we make our business work is we connect all these manufacturers and suppliers across the country in categories such as fashion, accessories, home and living, cosmetics, and electronics to all of these people who are looking to start their social stores.
Sure.
And every time they make a sale, we take some commission. So that's basically a business model. In the last 2.5 years since we started this, now we have enabled more than 2 million people across the country. About 90% of them are women. And this is across all tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, all kind of small or large towns across the country, which we feel very proud of.
Okay, so let's break that up. You're saying social store. For someone, say for instance, if they're looking at selling on WhatsApp, how does that process work?
So it's very simple, right? So most people who today are looking to start a store on WhatsApp, they either create a WhatsApp group where they will invite people in their own community who would like to take recommendations from these social sellers.
Sure.
And the other thing that they do is they will curate products on their WhatsApp status, which is essentially a stories kind of a format. And both of this are very visual, and they invite people in the community saying, hey, I'm starting my own boutique on WhatsApp. And if you would want to take recommendations from me in categories, for example, like sarees and suits, please become a part of these groups.
Okay.
And then people kind of start discovering products. Every time they like it, they can just ping the social seller, okay, hey, I want to buy this, sometimes negotiate the price, and then just say, okay, I want to buy this, pay for it. Or in sometimes just take a cash on delivery as an option. So it is that simple. And these social sellers, again, most of them women, essentially use a platform for everything. Starting from when they come to our app, we train them of how to run these social stores.
Sure. Okay.
Right? So that's a big value that we add. After that, we give them tools to start their business, give branding to that business. So you come and give yourself a business name.
Sure.
Then you create your own business logo with the tools we give you that you put on your WhatsApp group. And then you start getting access to collections across multiple manufacturers. And then you can very easily share it on WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you're running your shop. And we manage your logistics.
Okay.
We manage your payments.
Okay.
We manage giving tools that, for example, help you take reviews from your customer and show it to other customers as testimonials.
Sure.
But basically managing the entire journey of someone looking to start an online business and then taking it forward.
Okay, so it sounds like a very complicated business model for the simple reason that you are working with what's largely the unorganized sector. All along we've been talking about the opportunities which is available and the opportunity that's been created by a business model like yourself. But my question is, what has been the biggest challenge? You've been in existence for about 2.5 years now. What's been that biggest challenge? How you address that pain point?
So the big problem that we solve in India, and let me give you some historical context around it, right? India has a very low participation of women in the workforce. And that number, like to a lot of people's surprise, is even lower for larger cities like Bangalore than smaller towns. And what happens is a lot of these women who are working before they got married or had kids stop working after. And a lot of them are ambitious. They're looking for a professional identity. They really want to feel confident after doing something.
Sure.
So 10, 15 years ago, the only option you had as a lady is to either start a boutique, right? Or maybe create certain food products like thepla, papad, all of that. But very few women could do something like this. Why? Because, for example, to start a boutique, you need to go to a wholesale market, buy products. This requires you to have capital.
Sure.
Most people in India don't have capital, and women being the secondary priority in the family, even if the family had capital, they will not support her, right? So very few women could fulfill their dream of starting basically a business of their own from the home.
Sure.
So the problem that we solve is all of these millions and millions of women across the country who are looking to start something out of their house. Without going out of the house, they want to start something, now can come to a platform, start their home-based business in any category they want without putting a single rupee. That is the part which is so liberating. So these women who've been looking for opportunities for decades and decades now finally can start a business of their own. And that's the problem we solve. And that's why we continue to focus so much on women, because they're the most marginalized sections in the whole society.
Sure.
Who have got no support from their family, from their community in terms of capital or anything else. And we give them everything end to end, starting from thinking, hey, I know you want to start something, but I also know that you have no idea of how to run a boutique, and I will train you of what kind of fashion trends work. How do you price a product? How do you give a great experience so your customers come back to you again and again? How do you show your good customers to the new ones so people trust you more? Like all of these parts which are very important for a new guy, we train them. So I'm saying we manage everything for them, but essentially we're solving for giving that simple identity to them so they feel more confident.
Okay, business models like yours are possible because we now have platforms like, say, WhatsApp, Instagram selling, Facebook selling, etc. What are the specific opportunities and challenges, if through this interview you can talk about, for anyone who's looking perhaps at starting their business on social media or social selling, what are the specific, maybe one or two opportunities and the specific challenges that you think social media then is throwing up when it comes to businesses?
So the biggest opportunity that social media has thrown up, for example, is like tools like WhatsApp are so simple to use that anyone in India who's right now using a phone uses WhatsApp. Like they may not use any other app out there, but they understand how to use WhatsApp. Like a lot of people in my family in villages who are very old, very difficult to understand a new tech product, they know how to use WhatsApp, share photographs, like reply to folks. So I think for anyone, one is business, but for anyone, WhatsApp and other like platforms such as Facebook and increasingly Instagram offer an opportunity to reach out the largest audience in India, which no other platform can give you. So I think this is the biggest opportunity. You want to reach each and every user in the remotest part of the country to like play with your product, interact with your products. The platform to use are these. But if you ask me what's the biggest challenge is how do you like make sure that you use this opportunity in the right way. What we have seen, a lot of new guys who come to a platform saying, hey, I'm going to start my shop with WhatsApp, and then they start spamming people, right? And second day, everyone leaves their group, and then 5 days later, their shop shuts off because they just did not focus enough on the end user experience. Like sharing more, spamming more does not mean that you get like larger business, because a lot of people irritated would not want to buy from you. So I'm saying making sure that you use the opportunity in the right way, understand the power of the platform, as well as like what can go wrong becomes very critical. And I've seen people who succeed on a platform generally focus a lot on what kind of experience they give to their customers. I've never seen someone who does well on the platform share more than 5 times a day. And that too staggered across the day, so my customer doesn't feel overwhelmed by the kind of things I share.
Okay, one thing that I do want to check with you, and which is going to be my last question, is that the kind of user base growth that you're talking about, is that an opportunity that's available only in a country like India, given the size that we have? Is that that really sort of defines maybe India as an e-commerce market?
Yeah, I think so. I think India has a strength of the market is like super large. Like you speak to anyone even outside India, everyone knows like India is a big market that we focus on. The problem is a lot of people use playbooks that have been invented in very homogeneous markets such as China and US. Right? Whereas if you come to India, like every different state has different kind of sarees that they wear, they speak different languages, and they're different in terms of like how they like a product, do they negotiate, do they not negotiate a price at a small shop, right? So you have to localize the experience. But if you do this very well, I think the opportunity that this country offers is immense, right? Because India essentially is leapfrogging from having nothing in infrastructure to now having everything through mobile phones. So unlike, for example, more mature markets like in the West, where the offline infrastructure was also so mature that online really had to kind of give a fight. In India, there's no question. Right? A lot of people just could not access a lot of facilities offline because the infrastructure was so bad. So India is leapfrogging. So the opportunity is much larger. But if you do it right, if you localize the experience right, I think like anyone can build a much larger company in all of these sectors than any of our peers in China and US.
Great having you here on the show. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Completely out of time on this episode of Leaders of Tomorrow. If you have any feedback for us, our contact details up on your screens in just a moment. Do let us know what you thought of both tonight's interviews. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.